Bob Postrace, Fox Sports. Is there anything you're going to be looking at during the Xfinity race today to see how either NASCAR officiates things or how things go in order to potentially recommend or see if any changes should be made for Sunday?
Yeah, I think you definitely try to pay attention to all that you can. I think, as you mentioned, the officiating and track limits is something, but also, more from the competitive side of things, just how people are shaping corners or passing or, things like that. Pit road entry, all the little details that matter for the race on Sunday. So I felt like, walking the track yesterday, there was a few areas where this could be of concern, but once we got at speed, I didn't think some of the barriers were in awkward spots or the tire packs were in awkward spots. So I thought all that felt fine.
You're a veteran of international type races. You've raced all over. Is this any different than going to Australia and doing a sprint car race?
Well, we haven't really quite gotten to the race yet, so I'm sure the atmosphere will be a lot different, but the difference would be just the logistics of it, and the shuttles and all of that. But when you go race, or when I go race in Australia, it's really no different as far as driving to the racetrack or the people that you see and things like that, and the atmosphere that you feel is similar. But I imagine the atmosphere on Sunday will be quite a bit different than what we're used to seeing in a NASCAR event.
We'll come down here to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. What's your comfort level with the track at this point?
Yeah, I think there's still areas probably that you could fine tune and get a little bit better. But overall, I felt like it related well to the simulator. The feel of the car somewhat similar, and all that. So, I was lucky enough that they got to put in some tire packs on the simulator on Tuesday for me to get in and kind of visually get a feel for that. So, yeah, I thought it all looked normal to what I was used to in the sim. So I think that helped make the learning curve a little bit better. But at this point, I think we've had to work on our car quite a bit to try and get it more comfortable. I think the altitude and what that does to the downforce and stuff is a real thing. It definitely feels different out there, braking and the initial kind of turn into the corners and stuff. So yeah, it feels a little different and something you have to adjust to.
The forecast for tomorrow has the potential for rain, or even if it's not rain during the race, that might rain in the morning, so there could be a wet track. What are the challenges, and how might this track change under wet or rainy conditions?
Yeah, I don't know. Me being not that experienced on wet, I would like for it to not rain or be wet, but I think at the same point, that opens up an opportunity if you do hit on it or get comfortable. You can make a big difference behind the wheel. So, I don't know, but I'm a pretty risky driver, and you see that at Chicago. I crashed last year, so I don't know. I could take it or leave it. I would rather leave it, but yeah, we'll see. We'll just be ready for whatever conditions come.
Go right here in the middle.
It's Katavi, NASCAR.com. How did you feel with the elevation getting out of the car after practice yesterday?
Yeah, I think when you're in the car and after, I don't know, I think you're not focused on that, so I didn't notice anything. It's more like when I walk up the stairs to come here or walk up the stairs to go to the driver's lounge. By the time you get to the top, you got to breathe a little bit heavier. So, but in the car, no, it felt fine. I tracked my heart rate and all that looked normal. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's just, you're not focused on that when you're driving.
We'll go over here to the left.
Hi, Kyle. Welcome to Mexico. What do you think about the track? What is the most difficult part of the track here in this Mexico City weekend? And if you can tell me as well, what is your favorite part about Mexico?
Yeah, I think so far the most difficult thing or different thing to a typical road course that we feel would be, I think, that lack of downforce and then how that affects the brake zones. So that's kind of been challenging. I think you could see a lot of drivers kind of struggling with that yesterday. I think the sim kind of under-predicted that. So, all the brake zones we had to work to kind of back up and then, so you don't lock up your rear tires or your front tires and whatnot. So, yeah, that's been the most challenging piece, I think, for most everybody. And then, yeah, Mexico's been fun. It's a different feeling weekend for us here. We don't have our motor coaches and all that, so we're all kind of put up in the same place, and got a ride in shuttles together, and it's honestly really fun and enjoyable to be around your competitors and get to know each other a bit better. And because on a typical weekend we just kind of lock ourselves in wherever we're at, and we don't talk to anybody or anything. So it's nice that you're almost forced to hang out with each other, and it's cool. You get to know them. So I've enjoyed that. And then going to the what do they call that thing? That thing yesterday. The wrestling was pretty cool.
Does it feel like a school trip?
Yeah, I guess you could compare that. It's been a long time since I've been on a school field trip, but it does feel like that.
Go ahead, Brad.
Brad Gilly, MRN. What are the challenges in pitting off the right side of the car? And did you participate in pit stop practice this week?
I did not participate in pit stop practice. I mean, it's different. I wouldn't say it's any more or less challenging. It's different. And then the pit stalls here are extremely short. So I think that's where the challenge comes from. Combining that with, turning right with your right front being out there, it's kind of hard to judge your distance and things and your angles and getting those correct if you have to come around somebody. I think, pit road, caution flag pit stops will be difficult. I think you'll see some penalties and see some guys boxed in and a little bit of, or a lot of congestion. So, the end of pit road narrows up too. So if you're, side by side 2 wide, it's, then somebody pulls out 3 wide, it's going to, get jammed up a lot. So, that'll be interesting to see.
We'll go in the back to Jordan.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. You talked about how this is kind of a different weekend for the drivers in terms of interactions, that kind of thing. Is there anything you pull from this weekend that you would like to see incorporated at other NASCAR races?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think maybe things will come up tomorrow, and seeing how driver intros go, or the post-race podium and stuff. I think that's could be an easy piece to incorporate to other weekends. I don't know. I like hanging out with the other drivers, but I don't know how you ban motorhomes and then force us to stay at the same hotel in Pocono, but it's fun.
We'll go all the way in the back.
Hey, Kyle. Welcome back to Mexico after 2 weeks away from Mexico City. I was wondering if you believe you have some sort of an edge in comparison with other drivers, because you race a lot of different series, a lot of different type of cars. So this is a new facility for most of the NASCAR drivers. Do you think you're one of those drivers that have an edge because of the variety of cars or series you drive or racing?
I don't. I think I could see how that could be a topic, but no, I don't feel that way. And obviously, I was slow yesterday, so no, I don't think it matters. I just think everybody in the Cup Series is really good, and although yes, it's our first time here on the real life surface, everybody probably spent time in the simulator at some point over the last couple weeks. So you learn the corners, you learn the gearing, you learn enough to where you come here and you can get up to speed pretty quickly. So I felt like it didn't take but 3 or 4 laps for everybody yesterday to kind of get to a steady pace, and I think that just shows the level of talent and ability in the Cup Series.
Are there any final questions? We'll take one last one down here with Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. You referenced the podium celebration earlier. Is that something that you would like to see potentially for all Cup races, or I think some even suggested maybe the compromise would be doing it for road course races and leaving it as is for others. Is that something that intrigues you, or what's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I don't. Maybe just your crown jewel events even would be a good start, but I'm not sure. I come from dirt racing where the top three have to stop on the front stretch every night and do your interview, which we do interviews on pit road and stuff, so that's not way different. But yeah, although it stinks sometimes when you're frustrated and you got to force a smile, it's still I think the fans appreciate seeing the top three drivers on the front stretch and the photos and whatnot. And you look at other forms of motorsports and yeah, the post-race podium celebration and even like I look at Formula One, like you kind of celebrate the country that you're from too, playing the national anthem. I think we're most all from America here, but I just think that's a nice added touch. So yeah, I think there's ways to look at it and make it kind of feel like our own. We're not completely copying other forms of motorsports. But yeah, I think I heard Ross say it, but like it's tough to run top three, in the Cup Series. So I think it should definitely be celebrated a little bit more. Second and third should be celebrated a little bit more than it is. Not only for yourself and your team, but your partners and whatnot. So again, though, I think there's ways that NASCAR can look at making it have their own kind of touch and feel. But yeah, I think we'll see how it goes tomorrow. And yeah, like I thought the Clash thing was awesome to see too. So we've done it before. Just I think we could do it at other places.
Steven Stump of FrontStretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.